Hi, I'm Laura. This is Kuhn, Kraft, Yoga and Design. Before we get started, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any new videos here every single week. Today we have a practice yoga for middle splits. So I do not have a full middle split yet. Now, this is something that maybe once a week I work into my practice. I'm not a full on dedicating every single day to getting my middle splits. It's just something that I thought, hey, I'm in my 40s. Why not? Let's try and get the middle splits at some point. Maybe it'll be there for me. But I can tell you that through this practice, I have gotten lower and lower and working into the inner thighs. I've created a lot more strength into my legs as well. Very valuable things. Having that strength into the lower body can allow you to get deeper into your middle splits in a more safer manner and allow your body to release into that deeper posture. Not only that, but a lot of the warm-ups for your middle splits are going to make your hips a lot more healthy. So I think whether you actually fully attain your middle splits or not, the practice of going through many of these movements are going to make your lower body and joints so much more healthy. So let's go ahead. We're going to warm up. You're going to get really warm into the lower body today. Trust me. And we're going to try to keep this practice moving along. First, I want to show you where I'm at without having done any warm up at all for our middle splits. And I'm going to try to see how low I can go before we get started. As you can see, I've moved my mat and my mat board out of the way so that I'm just on the carpet and in bare feet. I like to have a surface that I can slowly lower on with a little bit of smoothness. So if you're on a wood floor, maybe having some socks, but also with a bit of control. So your sticky mat might be a little too sticky and allow you to stop more than you would want to. As I lower down, I am lowering with control using the strength of my legs. I'm using a couple of blocks to kind of use them to reach the floor a little more soon than if my hands were to reach. And I'm going to lower down. My knees are facing forward in the middle split. And the toes or the feet, a lot of times I like to have the soles of my feet flat onto the earth, but I do have the support in my ankles and the mobility to do that. Now, you can also have the feet flexed, but if you keep the feet flexed, stay strong in the foot. And again, so that the toes are facing forward. Lowering down into the middle split, I feel pretty tight right here already. So I'm going to use the blocks to keep myself lifted. And then as you can see, or maybe it's a little hard to tell from this angle, but I do have a bend into my tailbone. So I'm arching with my lower back, creating a shape for the femurs and the hips to shift back slightly. So I'm not fully straight. I'm pretty straight here with my legs, but a slight V shape here as my hips are pushing back. Already pretty low, but I have been practicing this for a while. And we're going to move into those exercises to warm up and see if we can get a little deeper. Joining me back on the mat, we're going to begin in yogi squat. Now, when you are starting your middle split practice, you'll probably want to do just as I did and go ahead and see where you're at as you get started as you start to warm up into the hips. And maybe take a video of yourself and see how low you're getting in your middle splits. It's a great indicator of seeing how far your progress is being made in your yoga practice. So we're going to start just by coming into Malasana with the elbows on the inside of the knees. Hands can come to prayer. And I like to wiggle a little bit when I start my Malasana to wake up into the hips. Shifting back and forth from one side to the other. Your ankles and heels don't need to be fully onto the mat. This can already be enough for you here and quite active into your Malasana or yogi squat. As I said, we want to build up strength into the hips and into the inner thighs. So this practice is going to have quite a bit of that. Feel free to take breaks if needed. When you're ready, come to stillness in your yogi squat. We're going to take some knee drops. So staying in your squat, we're going to start just by lowering the right knee down and then bringing the right knee back to where it was to start. Then doing the same thing with the left side and then coming back. We're going to go and take that for 10 rounds on each side. You can have the arms out, extended out in front of you. You can also have the hands behind you. And if you need to rest the hips back onto the earth, and I'll demonstrate that in a moment, lowering the hips down, hands behind you, you can also drop the knees in like this and leave the hips down onto the mat. You're still getting movement and practicing that mobility into the hip joint. Whichever shape you're at, we're going to take 3 more rounds on each side. And then go ahead and come back into your yogi squat. Maintain stillness and rest. Inhale and exhale. When you're ready, we're going to take the hands down to the earth, step back into tabletop. I'm going to come to the side. We're going to come into tabletop, and we're going to go ahead and take some movement again through the hips. I'm going to start on the left side so you can see a little bit more clearly. Start to lift the left knee so that it is just up to hip height. Keep the left foot flexed. And we're going to wake into the back of that left hamstring. Allow the knee to come down and lift up. Just doing these donkey kicks for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. This last one, let's come back up so that the foot is still flexed. Knee is even with the hip. And we're going to pulse for 10, 9, 8, little pulses, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Very good. From here, we'll take some hip circles. Draw the left knee down. Then we're going to lift the left knee out to the side. And then draw the knee back up again so it's even with the left hip. So we're drawing a great big circle with that left knee. Coming up, starting with this counterclockwise direction. Lowering down. Coming up. And lowering down again. Last one in this direction. Returning back to the bottom. From here, we're going to lift up, kicking up with that flex foot, and then open the left knee out to the side, and then draw it back down. Lifting up, opening, and returning back down. Lifting up, open, returning back down. From here, we're going to lift up, draw the left knee out so that we're opening up into this kind of frog-legged fire hydrant position. And we're going to lift and lower. So keeping the foot flexed, we're going to lower the left knee down. Not all the way to the mat, but still keeping it hovered. And then open the left knee out to the side as high as you can. Engage that left hip. And then lower down. Trying to keep the arms and the upper body stable. Keeping the right arm straight. And close. Lift up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and lower it down. If you need to shift the hips back, give the hips a little wiggle just to allow them to release. By all means, do so. And then we're going to move on to the other side. Of course, we need to do both sides. I'm going to spin myself around so you can see a little bit more clearly. This time, moving on to the right side, we're going to go ahead and lift that right knee. So it's just about even with the right hip. The knee is facing down and the right foot is flexed. Waking up the back of the right leg. Allow the knee to lower. And then go ahead and lift that the right heel up towards the ceiling. And then draw it down. Lift and lower. We'll take 8 more. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. On the last one, we'll hold and we'll pulse it out for 10, 9, just little lifts, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. From here, we're going to take those hip circles. Start by drawing the right knee in, drawing it down towards the mat, and then we're going to circle, open the right hip up out to the side. From here, we're going to draw the right foot back up to the sky as the knee comes back, and then bringing the knee once more to the earth for 1, opening up, drawing it down with control for 2, opening up, and releasing it down for 3. Let's reverse it out, moving to the back, circling that right knee out to the side, keeping the upper body stable. And last hip circle, drawing the right knee to the side, bringing the right knee down. This time we're going to open up into those fire hydrants, opening the right knee out, lifting as high as you can, and then bringing it down for 1, opening it up for 2, and lower. We're going to go for 8, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's hold out to the side here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Softly lower that right knee down to the earth. Maybe sit back into a child's pose. Extend the arms out long. Inhale. Exhale. And wherever you're at, we're going to shift up, tuck the toes, start to push back into a downward facing dog just for a moment to transition. And you can step depending on which way you're facing on your mat. For me, it's going to be my left foot forward. And then I'm going to spin the toes around to face the left side of my mat. So the toes are pointed slightly inward and the feet are parallel. So we're coming into our wide-legged fold. From here, you can start with the back nice and flat. And then when you're ready, start to exhale, soften into the pose, stretching into the back of the legs. Really nice pose for opening up into the hamstrings. Allow the head to feel heavy. You can have a slight bend in the knees. But I want you to play around with the feel here. Whether you let the weight come a little bit more into the balls of the feet. Maybe you shift the hips back a little more towards the back of the room. Play around where you start to feel that stretch into the back of the legs the most. Really root into the outside edges of the feet. And when you're ready, we're going to inhale, come up to a halfway lift. From here, you can grab a block or even a weight if you have it. Anything weighted is going to be more difficult. But from here, we're going to extend that block or weight out in front of us. And we're going to slowly lower halfway down so that the back is nice and straight. We're going to lift up only about 5 or 6 inches. So we're still engaging into the back of the legs. Feel the feet driving towards each other, almost like they're trying to drive in towards the midline of the body. Really activating to the inside of the legs, the inner thighs. Putting this all into the lower body. And of course, we are using some strength in the upper body too. But to stay stable and grounded, we really have to force through those legs. We're going to take 3 more rounds of this, lifting and lowering. Very good. When you're ready, you can release your hands all the way down onto the mat. I'm going to just move my block to the side. And from here, we have a halfway lift in our wide-legged forward fold. We're going to start to move into Skandasana, lowering from left to right. Now, there can be many modifications you can take, especially if these are a little challenging for you. You can go ahead and use the hands and walk the hands from left to right. Shift the feet as you do so. Notice how my toes turn out to face the corner of the mat as I turn towards the right. As I turn towards the left, my left toes are going to change as well to support and track in line with that left knee. As I move, my toes move with me. Now my hands are used as support as I walk back and forth in this Skandasana, also known as a spider lunge. As you start to build up strength in your Skandasana, you might be able to shift back and forth without the hands. This is where we're going to really start to pick up some strength into the lower body and into the legs, especially those inner thighs. As I shift towards the left, I pick up the right toes, point them towards the sky. Shifting to the right, left toes point up. We're going to shift back and forth for about 30 more seconds. As you practice these and move deeper and deeper, you want to work to about 16 rounds per side, which can get really tiring. But it'll make your hips stronger. Your knees will be stronger. It's also great coordination for the mind. When you're ready, we're going to end or reach the left side. From the left side, I'd like you just to go ahead and crawl the hands forward. You can lower the right knee down. We're going to move through a tabletop. And this is just to bring you into alignment for the next pose. We're going to have the right knee in line with the right ankle. Extend that left leg out long. I'm going to back up just slightly. From here, we're going to take a little challenge again into that fire hydrant shape. Much harder with a straight leg. So from here, we're going to go ahead and lift that the left leg as high as you can. It might be an inch, but we're going to lower down. Then we're going to go ahead and lift again for 2 and lower. Lift again for 3 and lower. Lift for 4 and lower. Up for 5 and down. Very good. From this posture, I'm going to turn my left toes out. So my left foot is in line with my right knee. Pull the left foot in a little bit closer. You might need to play with your stance as far as how far your left foot is from your right knee. But we're going to take a side lunge here, leaning into that left inner thigh, using the left elbow to keep that left knee nice and open. You can stay nice and tall. And just allow yourself to relax into the stretch. When you're ready, use the strength into the left leg to bring yourself back up to an upright position. From here, we're going to move into half frog on the right side. So the right knee still stays in line with the right ankle. We're not really moving that very much. You might need to walk that left leg out a little more further. Keeping the left leg long, we're going to start to sink the hips back. Reach the hips back towards the ankle. Stretching more into that left inner thigh. Press the left foot into the mat. Feel like you're trying to drive the right knee and the left foot together, closing them together, trying to move the mat. And when you're ready, release. Start to shift the hips forward. Push yourself up onto your hands. Draw that left foot in. We're going to take that whole cycle over onto the other side. So from here, I'm going to keep the left knee in line with the left ankle. Extend the right leg out long. And then we're going to take those fire hydrants. So for our fire hydrants, again, much, much harder. If you can't get the leg off the ground very far, that is totally fine. From here, the arm stays stable, and we're going to try to lift the right leg for 1 and lower. Lift for 2 and lower. Lift for 3 and lower. Lift for 4 and down. Up for 5 and lower. Very, very good. I'm getting very warm just in warming up here for the middle splits. We're going to come into that side lunge. So walk the right foot in slightly. Keep the left knee and the ankle right where it's at. Lunge over to the right. Use the right elbow to keep that knee nice and open. Feel the stretch to the inner groin and the thigh. And yes, you can see that my knee is coming beyond my ankle. Often we're told to keep the knee in line with the ankle when we're doing lunges. It can be done safely by bringing it in front of the ankle, keeping stability into that joint. When you're ready, we're going to ease out of it. Place the hands down. Allow the hips to shift back over to the left. We're going to go ahead and take that half frog on the opposite side. So again, the left knee in line with the ankle. Walk the right leg out, keeping it straight. The sole of the foot can come to the earth. I like how that feels in my body. Or you can keep it flexed, just like we would in a middle split as well. From here, hips can start to sink back. You can come to your elbows, even all the way down onto the mat. Whatever feels good for you. Activate into your half frog by starting to drive the left knee and the right foot. Feel them squeezing the mat, squeezing in towards the midline. You're going to feel the whole underside and the inside of the thighs light up. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and relax. Start to shift forward so you can come out of the posture safely. Bring the right knee in towards the left. And from here, we're going to move into full frog. We won't be doing this passively. We'll be actively engaging in the pose. You won't see a huge movement on me because this is all engagement in the muscles, making this very active instead of just relaxing into frog. So I'm going to come to the side. I'll have one knee off of my board and one knee on. But the important thing is that the knees are in line with the ankles. I'm opening up as wide as I feel comfortable to start with. And then I'm going to slowly lower. For me, I'm going to lower down onto my forearms. Start to shift the hips back towards the ankles. So I get a bigger stretch into the groin. And from here, I'm going to activate by squeezing, pressing the knees down into the mat, drawing everything in towards the midline. So I feel like almost like I'm trying to move a weight with the inside of my legs, pressing them down into the earth for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go ahead and relax. You can even shift forward slightly if that feels good. Maybe you open up the knees a little more widely in your frog pose. When you're ready, double checking your alignment, pushing the hips back slightly. Again, engage, pushing the knees into the earth for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's relax. Very good. Shift forward. Ease in and out of the pose. Allow the muscles and the nerves surrounding those muscles to know that they're protected and supported with the strength that you have. When you're ready, we're going to take one more round. In your frog pose, again, let's press, push into the knees, all the way from the knees down through the shins, pressing into the earth, feeling this through your inner thighs, into your hips. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. From here, let's just relax and stay in frog pose for about 30 seconds. To come out of frog pose, slowly shift forward with the hips. Use your forearms to support you. Draw the ankles in towards one another, and then you can more easily bring the knees together. Slowly come out. And we're going to come into a seated position in the center of our mats for a pancake shape. So we can open up the legs nice and wide. Our seated wide-legged straddle. It doesn't need to be too wide, just so that your feet are resting on the mat. I do like to have a little cushion underneath my heels. For some reason, I have really sensitive heels. And from here, we're going to go ahead and start to take some active movement in our pancake or our wide-legged straddle. You don't need to come fully into pancake by any means. This isn't a pancake and middle split class. This is a class for engagement and building up the strength into the inner legs and thighs. Maybe someday we will all be there. So for this movement, we're going to come into good mornings in our wide-legged straddle. Go ahead and grab a block. If you would like a little extra weight, you can go ahead and grab maybe a water bottle or even a 2-pound weight. And from here, feel like you're comfortable and you're seated nice and high on your sit bones and that you're not leaning from one side to the other. Sometimes having a blanket to sit on to be a little bit higher can feel like you can get a better bend. From here, we're going to take the block or water bottle out in front of us, and we're going to start to shift forward. Keep the back nice and long and reach, reach, reach as far as you can, and then come back up. So using some strength in those legs as we lower and lift. We're going to go for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Notice my feet are slightly pointed, just comfortable. But my knees are facing up. That's more important. Have your knees facing up. We'll take 3 more. 3, 2, and the last one. Let's hold the block or water bottle out in front of us, hovering from the earth, reaching, staying long in the torso, holding for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's finally rise up using the strength of the torso and come back up to neutral. We're going to do that from side to side as well, focusing on the left and the right side. So keeping the right leg grounded, we're going to shift the torso and face the top of that left knee. Again, using a block, we're going to start to reach, maybe extend the block out past the left foot, and then come forward for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Very good. Let's switch. Going to the right side, changing the torso. You might feel it is even harder to twist from one side to the other. So again, this is going to work into your spine and torso as well. We're going to go for 10. Reach and lift. Reach and lift. 3, 4, keeping the leg grounded. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Come back up to center. From here, we're going to just lower down into our forward fold or pancake if you can go all the way to the earth in your pancake. Reach the arms out, and we're going to just relax into our fold here for about 30 seconds. Start to bring yourself back upright. You can use the hands to walk yourself in. We'll do that from side to side. We'll start with the left side. So keeping the right leg grounded, start to walk the hands out. Forward fold over that left leg. Continue to breathe. Inhale, come back up through center. Walk it over to the right, and we'll start to forward over the right leg. Beautiful. Let's walk it back up and bring it into center. From here, we're going to move into our middle splits. So if you need to step off your mat and find a surface where you can, with control, lower down, either as I am on carpet. You can also have your socks on your carpet. Or if you're on wood floor, you can lower down. Just practice that you can lower to that point and still maintain control. So here we are again. We're going to come into our middle splits just to compare the before and the after, especially if you are videoing yourself during your practice. So wonderful to see if you've made improvement. Do not feel hard on yourself if you don't have much improvement, especially if this is your first attempt. Middle splits, especially for those of us who do not have a gymnast or a background of practicing these many times or a steady practice, it's going to take a lot longer path for us to fully find our middle splits. Know that and love that about yourself and your body, and just enjoy the journey along the way. So for your middle splits, I encourage you to have some blocks around so that you have something to reach the floor a little sooner. Start to lower with control. You can see I'm kind of controlling this with my toes as I walk out and reach out with my middle splits. Pausing, keeping the back nice and straight, feeling like I can go a little bit further, lowering down, This time for me, I notice I can easily reach the blocks on the middle height. Again, your blocks have 3 heights. Use them, love them. Wherever you're at, let's take a moment in this first attempt at our middle splits and hold. I'm going to stay right here. I feel like I could go further in my middle splits, but I'm going to stay here and hold and activate in my middle splits by driving the feet into the earth. As you can see, the soles of my feet are touching the earth. This may not be available if you have tight ankles. You may want to have the feet flexed and pressing that edge of the foot into the earth. Whichever way that you activate into the inner thighs and into the inside of the groin, we're going to hold here and push into the earth for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. From here, we're going to slowly come out of our middle splits. Use the strength of the legs to draw the legs in. Maybe shift back and forth and come back to an upright position. We're going to go one more round, either coming down just as far as you did, maybe coming down further if that's an option, wherever you're at. From here again, let's start to move those feet out, starting to open up into our middle split, lowering down, reaching for our blocks, pausing if this is where you want to pause and stay in your middle split practice. If you feel like you can safely lower with control, come down further. Maybe reaching your blocks, maybe coming to a lower setting on your blocks. As you can see, I went and grabbed another type of block, which is thinner than a standard yoga block. I found that these were a little harder to find, but you could always use a book as well to come down onto, or even a pillow, something that is a little bit more firm. Varying the height where you come into your middle splits. Pausing here. Again, activate into the legs, pressing into the earth. Feel everything light up on the inside of the legs for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. You can stay here, and we're going to hold in the middle splits for about 30 seconds. If you feel like you can safely lower, come down a little further into your middle splits. Continue to breathe. Coming out, press into the earth with your hands, lift up, use strength in your legs to draw the knees in instead of falling backwards out of your middle splits. Maybe rock it back and forth from side to side, and you can come back up to a standing. That is our middle splits practice, or should I call it a middle splits challenge. Middle splits are super hard. Don't ever think that you need to get them within a week or whatever you see on this YouTube, or not this YouTube channel, but out there on YouTube. There is a lot of things that will catch you and say that I got my middle splits in a week or in a day. That does not happen for most normal people. And for most of us, we are normal people who just don't have that range. But the journey is there. And if you want to make this a goal of yours, keep practicing these movements that we did today. You'll find yourself getting healthier, getting stronger in the lower body. And at some point, you may connect with the earth and make your middle splits. As always, I love having you here on my channel. I hope you have a great day. Make it a good one. Bye.